Hi everybody, welcome back. It's me, Lauren. I hope that your week has been okay. I don't know, it feels a bit weird to ask that. I know I'm starting to adjust to things, I think. I've been working from home for a week now and I'm starting to get into a routine, but there's been challenges, definitely. And we're all kind of working through this together, I guess. I guess my motto at the moment is to just take things day by day. And that seems to be working for me. You know, there are ups and there are downs, but we're working through. And so that's kind of what I'm here to talk to you about today. How to kind of get ourselves organized, how to set a routine and how to plan for working online. So the online world is going to be the new normal for a little while. And this means that we do have to start to kind of change the way we operate on a day-to-day basis. And for many of us, that's quite a massive change. So you might be feeling that you've lost a sense of structure, which might mean you're having trouble staying motivated and on task. You might find your sleep patterns have been disrupted. You're feeling a little bit out of whack. You're feeling frustrated. You're feeling anxious. And you're worried about all the tasks that are building up. Many of you have been sharing your experiences with this transition on forums such as Overheard at Flinders and on the Finding Your Way at Flinders Flow discussion pages. And this is actually really great to see. Let's please keep talking to each other. Let's keep sharing all the highs and lows of our adjustments to this kind of crazy new world. We are hopefully going to get through this together. And so this episode is the first in, I guess, what is sort of two parts that are designed to give you some strategies to hopefully help you to implement some planning and organization and get a routine set up. That's this one, part one. And then part two is going to help you to go through some of the tech and the online stuff that we need as we sort of plan to online. Number one is to set up an effective learning environment. And this can be difficult. Many of us live in environments that are not like super conducive to study. You might have loud or disruptive housemates, particularly if those housemates are children or pets. You might have a lack of physical space or a million sort of distracting things all around you begging for your attention. So how do we overcome this? Research shows that designating one space as your study space helps our brain to kick into study mode. So this might be, if you're lucky like me, a whole room, or it might be a dedicated space within another room. As much as possible, try to set up your desk or table and chair so that you maintain good posture. If you have a laptop, try to use an external keyboard and mouse if you have them, so that you can raise your laptop up to eye level and keep your arms at a 90-degree angle. Ensure that your study space has adequate light. Natural light is great if you have it, and try to avoid any glare on the screen. Arrange your study materials like your pens and notebooks so that they're close by. Organize folders on your computers so that you can keep important files such as topic materials together. And here's a big one, as much as possible, avoid studying from bed. Try to keep your study life and your home life or your rest relaxation mode at home as separate as possible, even though they kind of now maybe share a location. Once you've got your study space set up, try to minimize distractions as much as you can. If you're in a living room, make sure the TV's turned off, close any irrelevant tabs on your browser, close the door if you can. And if you work with music on, try to keep it something simple with as few lyrics as possible. And give your space some personality. We're not robots. Try to keep it comfortable and fun without adding too many distractions. Number two is to know your anchor points. Now, this is some terminology that I stole from Dr. Gareth, who I've mentioned before, and he will be running a Collaborate session soon all about adapting to our new ordinary day. So watch out for updates on that one. But the idea of anchor points is basically that we give ourselves clear and reliable times during the day that we associate with specific activities. So we should be thinking of our daily routine as a set of key moments. And these key moments might include a wake-up time, a moment when you set your goals and schedule for the day, a few set study sessions, coffee, tea, or snack breaks, exercise time, meal times, scheduled class times, of course, a clock off time, and a bedtime. If we know our anchor points, we can use these to help us maintain a routine. And routine is really important when we work from home because it's really easy to fall into like bad habits or to become distracted with our home daily lives. Like I'm also a writer, and I know, and I write from home all the time. And I have to say that like washing the dishes has never seemed as urgent as it has when I have like a blank screen staring at me on my desk. So for this week, what I've been doing is I'm still setting my alarm to make sure I get up at my normal time. I'm showering and dressing and getting to my desk by 9 a.m. I try to clock off as close as I can to 5 or 5:30, though that kind of sometimes is possible, sometimes isn't. I try to make sure I have a half an hour lunch break outside, away from my computer. And even though my partner is home all the time, he's actually a final year teaching student whose placement has been cancelled. So he's very bored at home, but he knows that if my door is shut, not to disturb me. So I can try to keep that work-home life as separate as possible. So here's my routine and schedule checklist. Set an alarm. I know, don't make that face at me. Shower and dress into something other than daytime pajamas. Like seriously, dressing for the day makes a really big difference in your mental attitude to your work and in maintaining a sense of normality. Block out some dedicated study times. I'm going to talk about more about that in a moment. Set aside time for meaningful activities. So these are things like still going outside for a walk. We are allowed to partake in exercise out of doors with members of our households. So go for a walk or go for a run, or maybe doing some living room yoga is your thing, or I don't know, backyard badminton, whatever it is that works for you. And really importantly, make time for socializing. Social distancing is a terrible term. What we're doing is physically distancing. It's now more important than ever to make sure that we keep those social channels open. So make time in your day to check in on your friends, to FaceTime your mum, to, I don't know, have a Discord chat with your mates, whatever works for you. Number 3 is to get organized. So now that we have an idea of our routine, let's think about what works for us study-wise. So the first thing we want to do is to consider how we can map these important parts of our day into something of a routine, a flexible routine. I really want to emphasize. So we're all adapting here, okay? So this means that we're putting things like our lectures, our online tutorials, our breaks into an organized planner. So start by getting yourself a planner. Think about what methods have worked for you in the past. You might prefer a daily planner, a weekly planner, a digital planner. For example, I don't know where I'd be without my Outlook calendar. I put everything there. And then the first thing I want you to do is write down all of your online contact hours. So the hours where you are expected to be at your computer and participating. So these are your Collaborate tutorials, etc. Second, put in your important anchor points. So put in those meal times, the times you're going for a walk, when you're socializing. And now you'll start to get a bit of an idea of what your day might look like. And these, of course, will differ from day to day across the week. It's just to give yourself a guide. So notice where that free space is. And in some of those free hours, block out study sessions of about 2 to 3 hours. Once you've done this, hopefully you'll feel like you've got a little bit more structure to your day, which will help you get a sense of routine. Remember, you don't have to be too rigid about this. This is a guide, okay? Be realistic with yourself. Don't plan every single hour of the day. Flexibility is really key here. And number 4 is to make your study sessions goal-oriented. So I talked a little bit about goal setting last week, but that's because it's really important. So now that you have your study sessions planned out for the day, we want to make the best use of them as we can. I write myself a to-do list every single morning. I don't know where I'd be without it. So what I want you to do is at the beginning of each of those 2 to 3 hour study sessions, write yourself a clear and specific goal. For example, it might be to finish the topic readings or to draft an essay. Then break this down even more. Divvy your study sessions up into a few short sprints. Research shows that 20 to 45-minute time intervals can maximize our attention and mental activity if followed by a short break. You might have heard of the Pomodoro method, for example. Think of it like interval training at the gym. If you keep going super hard, super flat out for too long, you're just going to exhaust yourself and end up, throwing up in the bushes. It's the same with study. Kind of. Hopefully less vomiting. Our ability to retain information and concentrate diminishes over time. So it's important to give ourselves that rest and recharge. So for each mini session, each 25 to 40-minute session, we can write an even more specific goal, such as write an introduction or read the method section of a paper. This makes our bigger tasks seem much more achievable. And remember that what's most important in all of this is that you find what works for you, okay? We are all different, we all work differently, and we all also, importantly, have different home situations that are going to present us with different kinds of challenges as we adapt. However, at the same time, remember that creating a working from home schedule might feel a little bit uncomfortable, okay? We are all adjusting. I know I've said this so many times, but it's really important to remember that we are all adjusting to something very new and very huge. So be kind to yourself, be patient with yourself. If you find that you fall off your schedule, that's okay. Try again tomorrow. And start with small goals. Start with shorter study sessions and build your way up, okay? And finally, remember all of the student services that you're used to still exist. They can be found in the Flinders Support Network, and the Flinders Online Hub is now up and running as well. If you would like some extra tips about getting organized for online learning, I recommend checking out the Learning Scientists. They have some great resources about time management. And of course, keep up to date with Dr. Gareth Ferber's health and wellbeing blog. He has lots of information about this kind of stuff. That's all from me for this week. Next time, we're going to go through some important elements of embracing this online world from a technological perspective. So how do we connect? What tech do you need? How can you get financial support to get that tech if you need to? In the meantime, here is my challenge for you. Remember how I said that it's still really important to dress and shower for the day? Well, I want to see your study outfits. This is mine today. I'm wearing this because it makes me feel good. It's colorful. It's very me, but it's also very comfortable. So what are you guys wearing at home? What makes you feel comfortable, but also like yourself? Post your pics below, share them on the Finding Your Way at Flinders Flow discussion boards or on the discussion in the blog. And also tell us what has helped you to adapt your schedule to working from home. Have you got a new routine? What planning and organizational methods have worked for you? That's it from me. As always, I will see you next time. Thanks.